Okay, what I'm hoping that we get to do for the next 30-ish minutes is talk through how you can use Cloverleaf to really help you with your people management. So if you've got real life problems, you can even pick who your real life problems are with, whether it's your coworkers, who you're reporting to, your direct reports, your partner in life, not necessarily in work. This is all going to serve that end of doing it better with them. So when I thought about how we could talk through what would be most valuable to you in managing conflict and working with your 16 types or your Myers-Briggs for that, I thought about ways that you could land your point with your boss better and avoid any potential pitfalls that you could be unknowingly stepping into. I also hear from managers a lot that it is their dream that they can have a drama-free team that has enough equitable distribution of tasks that they have a work-life balance and no one person is stressing out. And it creates less turnover, more job satisfaction, and their team as a whole enjoys it a lot more. So thinking about your direct reports, how to manage that infighting, how to open up communication lines between them. So a reminder, Cloverleaf wants to unleash you to do your best work, and we do that through thriving teams. We are going to go through on the dashboard what your type is, how to get more information about that, what each of those letters means, because that can be kind of confusing, what the cognitive pairs are, and that's the two middle letters. It's actually how your brain works naturally, the easiest way for you to consume information and draw things to a decision. And we're going to go through a team dashboard. So after today, if you need problems to solve inside of your team, you have the tools and you know where to go so you can keep on doing that. In fact, if you want to pull up on your phone or even your laptop your Cloverleaf profile, that will be really helpful for you. When we get to the team part, we're going to talk about how 16 types can help you communicate more effectively, build trust on your team, and also have effective conflict that results in better ideas, that airs concerns before they become big rumblings and divisive conversations on your team that maybe you are afraid to have if you let them carry on for too long. So Cloverleaf, just a reminder, we believe you're good. You're also complex. You're more than a letter or number. You have agency over yourself. No outcome on the assessments is telling you how you are going to be, and these are not identities. These are traits that you can operate in. You can also choose to do something different. It will just take a little bit more intentionality, and it will also take some energy. We don't measure your life experience or your skills. Those come into play with how you show up every day in your life. And all of this is intended for relationship. Getting a result and then it not driving greater insight to you about yourself or about somebody in your team never actually drives change. It's when it shows up in your life, you have a new thought, you come up with a plan to engage in a new way, and then you actually do it. So we have seen that most effective when people are engaging in three tip sharing or 3 reflections a week. So it helps to keep things top of mind, and it also moves it from a concept to application. Okay, do you know what your 16 types is with a raise of hands? Oh, look at you guys. You're like good little overachievers. Go ahead and share your 16 types with somebody. We're going to be doing some talking today. So get near another person if you need to. And we're going to be doing that in groups of 2 or 3, just so you can have conversations and share what you're learning. And also, if you have a question, I have time at the end, but feel free to raise your hand if it's appropriate for the information we're going through as we're going through it. Okay, share your personality type with the person who's nearby. And as we get started, I also want you to think of somebody in your life who you would like to have better engagement with. Maybe that you're actively in conflict with them. And as we go through the types, see if you can think about where that person best fits as we go through the 4 cognitive pairs. Okay, I'm going to keep on keeping on. The reason this matters is because leaders want to be hitting their goals. They want to achieve goals, and they cannot consistently do that unless they have built this foundation of trust, of communication, of getting people on their team to commit to the goals and not have one foot in and one foot out. They also want to be able to work through accountability. So when things go wrong and you are acknowledging that something fell short or someone fell short, you have the safety to have a conversation about how you're going to do it differently. There's enough self-awareness and trust on your team that you can plan to be vulnerable with each other in that accountability, which is a combination of trust, communication, and commitment when something is missed. And things go wrong, life happens. So if you want to continue to achieve your business goals, if you want to see your people developed, if you want to be getting others ready for promotion and having the same for yourself, you need to be thinking about what it takes to be at the top of this pyramid. And each of these layers, it takes continual ongoing investment and acknowledgement. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be 5 minutes a day, starting a conversation about your culture or building trust, but it has to be ongoing. These layers are not one and done. They are a living experience you have with your team. Okay, 16 types. I just think it is impossible that you're going to remember 16. And so we're going to break it down into those 4 middle letter pairs. And the reason I think it's so valuable is because I think you have a chance of retaining 4. And the introvert, extrovert, and the decision making, which are the first letters and the last letters, those are pretty commonly understood concepts. So I am going to go through each of these quadrants by themselves and keep your other person in mind. But first I'm going to tell you what each of those little letters means. That energy function, I said introvert, extrovert first, that is how you charge your mental batteries. So you do it in solitude, you do it alone, being able to synthesize information, or you do it in collaboration with others. And you love interactions and you really get hyped on getting to have a back and forth with other people. You can also, something that's not readily acknowledged, but Cloverleaf does it, is that you can be right in the middle of any of these categories. So you can, if you're in the middle of introversion, extroversion, you are as energized in solitude as you are in collaboration. But what that can mean is you cannot hang out a whole day or a whole week in one or the other. You need to pivot between the two. Second letter set is your perception. That's how you learn. It's how you consume information. Sensing does it through experience, through tactile information they're absorbing. It is also going to be through data and facts and precedent and history. Then our intuition, they love concepts. They learn through connecting disparate dots and different ideas, and it is often future-minded, whereas sensing is often historical. They are informing their present because of the history, where intuitives are reaching to the future, sometimes outside of the present. Our judging function, this is how you take that information and draw it to a conclusion. You're doing it based on thinking, which is logic. I go A to B to C to D. It is also, along that linear, it is the way it has been done before. It is often in order, whereas feeling They're not using logic and precedent as much as values, mission, and people impact. So you could have two people, same sets of data, same sets of facts, and they're deciding things differently. Because a thinker is saying, this is the way we've handled it, and a feeler is saying, that is going to negatively impact our customer base or our team, and we're not doing that anymore. And that is because they're evaluating things differently, they can come to different conclusions. Our last one, orientation, is actually referencing which of those learning components you like more. So do you like the consuming of the information and gathering and brainstorming and ideating? Or do you like deciding and coming up with your plan and moving to action? So your perceivers are going to like things open-ended. They want to find the best choice. They may postpone decision to do that and do a lot of investigation. Our judgers, they like action. I want a decision. Get me a task list. What's our timeline? One thing about perceivers is they're always paying attention to new information, so they can be very helpful in times of change. And judgers love to move the project forward. So they may be pushing perceivers to come to a decision before they want to, potentially at a risk of taking action because it relieves their inner pressure, but it may not have been the best choice. All right, that was like rapid fire through the explanation of 16 types. And we're gonna move on to these 4 quadrants and talk about how those are gonna show up. And this is where you can start paying attention to that person that you are having a moment with. So our sensing thinking, these are like maintaining engineers. They are realistic, efficient, detailed, they have really systematic knowledge, and they're very logical, practical people that they like to get their job done well, and they want it done excellently. So a way to stress them out and to create problems is by giving them unreliable data. I don't know, well, we only got 3 of the inputs included in this 5-input report. That's going to erode trust, it's going to cause problems, and you will lose your platform with them. Also, if you're saying, oh, I have so many ideas, and we're just gonna roll them out, it'll be great. If you do not provide the detail, you will not gain their buy-in. They're motivated by objectivity, it should be proven information, not your opinion, that they are looking for. And they really want it to be practical. They don't need fairy tales. They need real life. So they are making decisions on facts and logic. They want direct, clear, efficient communication. They don't need theater when you are giving them a presentation. They need data. And if you want to be building trust with them, make sure that you are getting your job done, you're doing what you said when you said you would do it. Is that anyone's person? Okay, bless. Okay, intuition and thinking. These are they're still engineering mindsets, but these are future-minded engineers. They're building something that has never been seen before. And they have a lot of appreciation for authority and hierarchy and intelligence. So they are really motivated to create something new and have a very thorough analysis of that creation. They're making their decision on logic and long-term strategy. That's where that intuition future comes into play. And they also need to be communicated in a very clear and well-founded argument that is also intellectually stimulating. They want to have trust in someone who does a good job, who respects them, and who also challenges them intellectually. Is that anyone's person? Okay. They don't like being wrong. I have up here that they're a fear of being wrong. They work very hard to get their information right, and they are very thoughtful about sharing things that they think are going to birth a new concept, but they're not ideating at will. They're very deliberate about what they're building when they're building it. They are described as logical, analytical, inventive, strategic, systematic, decisive, independent, visionary, innovative, efficient, objective, intellectual. Intuition, feeling. So these are folks that are still absorbing the information in big concepts, future-minded, but they're making their decisions on the people impact. These are future humanitarians, so they want to build a better world for all of us. And they can feel conflict when you hem them in, when you take away their creativity, and it's almost micromanaging to too finite or too present or too historical of a space where they can't create a new thing. They're really motivated to inspire others to cast a vision that compels you to greater action, including personal growth. And they're making their decision based on their values and the potential impact. So their future is values driven. They communicate with a lot of empathy and authenticity, and they would like that reciprocated. They want to know that you appreciate their values, that you are respectfully communicating yours if you disagree, and if you want to build trust with them, you offer a little vulnerability, be straight when you're having a disagreement, and do it first by acknowledging their position and how passionately they feel and why they feel it's so important. Is this anybody's? Yeah, this is one of our founders at Cloverleaf. Creative, idealistic, insightful, expressive, open-minded, imaginative, spiritual, empowering, visionary, passionate, perceptive. She was a stage performer in one of her previous lives, and it just feels like that informs a lot of her vision casting and how she shares that with people as well. Okay, sensing, feeling. These are like the best teammates. They care so much about the people that they're with, and they do a very good job of being the emotional relational glue on a team. They're great culture builders, and they have a pretty good vibe or health check on a team. If you want to cause problems with them, violate their values or treat them badly. And they will not initiate conflict with you until your value violation is so egregious they can't not. It is so offensive, it's not just hurting them, it's hurting everybody. So if you are having them come to you and speak some kind of dissenting opinion or engage in conflict, it is not going to be very melodramatic, and it will be extremely stressful for them. So they are motivated by service to others and practical support, mostly the folks that they love. And that the folks they love could be your customers, it could be your team, could be their family, and it could be your organization too. But it's usually those within their realm of influence. They really want to live by their values and create joy and safety and connection for everyone that they're working with. And they're going to communicate a lot with personal touches. They're going to be the ones that leave you notes, or maybe know it's somebody's birthday, or buy flowers. They're the ones that send the cards around so that you can sign for so-and-so's graduation. And you can build trust with them by offering the same kind of care and kindness that they are offering to you. Be consistent, say thank you, and show appreciation as a team too. They are nurturing, practical, sensitive, observant, detailed, traditional, dependable, realistic, helpful, empathetic, cooperative, and really friendly. Our SF on our team always unloads the kitchen dishwasher for all of us. Whether she should or shouldn't, she is still doing it, and I love her for it. But she would also be the one to bring in cupcakes, just because, you know, it's a Tuesday, and I really wanted to brighten your day. Is this anyone's person? Okay. These SFs feel very deeply, so if you are approaching them to prompt conflict, do it with as much kindness and affirmation as you have harsh feedback to. Okay, I want you to think about your person, and how many of you could type the person that you're having a moment with? Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Okay, so that was a bit of a challenge. We are gonna flip over for how to do this on the Cloverleaf dashboard. Who is able to log in to their profile? Oh, this is awesome. When you are logged in under My Teams, does anyone have a team under their Cloverleaf dashboard? Oh, okay. When I am looking at my teams, I'm able to go to the 16 types. If you have any questions about anything I said, that little gray question mark, it's going to give you all of the information I just shared with you. So if there's something that you want to know in the Cloverleaf dashboard, hit the gray question mark, and it will give you the information that I would have shared. All right, I'm going to have you click on my dashboard. It's on the left-hand side of your profiles. In there, you can type a question, like, how do I best manage conflict? And you can get information about the best way for you to be engaging, how you can show up. If you have a team dashboard, which you can invite people to your Cloverleaf and create a team for them, I think you get 2 weeks for free. So if you're doing it, I would invite your team and I would tell them to take an assessment or two. And I would begin with 16 types, DISC, and Enneagram. And you are going to be able to get a ton of information on that. So if you typed in, how can I best handle conflict? It's going to pull up tips. It's like a Google search of personality typing for you. You can also do that for a teammate. So I could type in, how do I best manage conflict with Mindy, who is here today? And right there. Okay, thank you. So if I wanted to, there's this search bar right here. I can ask, how do I manage conflict? And it's going to pull information back on how I like to handle conflict. But if I'm walking into a meeting with a leader, some of you already have Cloverleaf rolled out in your organization. You can do this for a leader. I would be searching up, how do I manage conflict with Mindy? And, or what creates conflict with Mindy? And it's going to serve up tips, and I can scroll through. Within 5, I've got an idea of needing to show up, and the first information I need to share is going to be the big picture, so they have a concept of the structure of how I need to be delivering the most important information first. Because if it's getting delivered, I'm answering their questions before they have them, and it automatically builds trust with my leader. So if they're intuitives, big information, future first. If they are sensors, they need to know the data and the precedent that led to this moment so that they can make a well-informed decision. And then the vision would come second. If I am thinking about how to be managing engagement with my direct reports, on there, you can have a one-by-one relationship map on your teams. So I can pull up 2 folks on my team that have been infighting, and it's going to tell you what creates conflict with them, what they want out of each engagement. Is it to keep relationships intact, or is it to get the best idea? Is it to make sure there's not harboring angst in that relationship, or they need forward progress? And all of that is to help you as a manager make sure there's less drama on your team, your people are empowered to move forward quickly, and that is a conversation you could have with each of them separately to see if they can solve it themselves, or you can have it with them together as a discovery process. That is, was anyone able to access their questions? Were they able to type in a question? Okay. Was there something that you learned about yourself when you typed in that question? Okay, so it helped you confirm what you already knew about yourself and also about that person? Oh, excellent. That would be something, if you are in active conflict, we have a way that you can share a tip. So that would be something that I would share that with them, just email the link over and say, hey, I just learned this about you. Do you agree with it? Or you can say, hey, I just learned this about you, that you love details. I really appreciate that you help us to make well-informed decisions. And that can start a conversation about things that have been stressors for you previously. They also give you language for how to step into a conflict where it is drama-free. Yes? One of the ways that you can start changing culture on your team, if you are building trust for the first time, or if you've had stress or like past wounding on your team, is to just make this a 5-minute practice 3 times a week of what did you learn? Or somebody shares a tip and they said, gosh, I felt like this was the most true tip of all of them that I have received. And it can become a place where you can go, oh, I see that in you. Oh, I have loved that about you. This is how it benefits me. Does anybody else, did you have a question? Okay. Does anybody else have a learning that they were able to pull out of that search bar? Some of the things that you can use this for are how to set goals. How do I manage stress on my team? And when you are looking at the side-by-side for your 2 direct reports, or for you and the leader that you're reporting to, I would use those as I'm heading into meetings, or if I am starting something new. I'm beginning a collaboration with somebody, we just had somebody join our team, and I would use that search bar like it is the Google search for your people and team development. It will not solve all of your problems, but it gives you language and it gives you insights to bring those into relationship, to have more effective problem solving, and to be building trust so you guys can move on to hitting those results, to developing your people, and to seeing advancement for them and for you. All right, what questions do you have? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, what do you do when you get counsel that does not seem to fit your observed experience? I ask them. That's what I do. And I would ask them probably in email or in passing, I got this tip. I really thought it was interesting because I've seen these other parts of you that don't seem to jive. And personally, what I have observed is there are drivers on the Cloverleaf dashboard that are more influential than others. And as a result, this is a part of them, but it often submits to whatever their most dominant traits are. So maybe they like data, but they also like movement more. And as a result, the data will fall second behind forward progress. Anybody else? I would love to hear what the highest value takeaway is. We've got 2 minutes. What was valuable to you? What was the most valuable thing that you heard today? And that's it. All right. Hey, thank you for your patience through not being able to show you everything, and also your sharing. And I really hope going forward you are equipped with tools to be more effective so you can get the success for yourself and your team that you hope for. All right, and back to Rachel.